Hey guys, I'm an OK gamer girl, and welcome to BackTrack, where I take a look at older games I haven't played before, and see if I missed anything back in the day, and how the game holds up a few decades later. I'll be looking at Forgotten Realms' Demon's Stone, which was released in 2004 on PC, Xbox, and PS2. Developed by Stormfront Studios and published by Atari. It's based on a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, also named Forgotten Realms. And as someone who's never played D&D, I didn't have expectations. The story was written by R.A. Salvatore, who is apparently prevalent in the fantasy fiction world. And finally, a name I know, Patrick Stewart himself is in on the action, narrating and voicing a character named Kelvin Blackstaff Aronson.
But now you bring me word they've broken free, and villagers lay ruined in their wake. They must be stopped, if we are not too late.
I had hopes for this game, not high and not low, just hopes. It sounded like a fun RPG with lots of button mashing, while also showing off lovely dated cutscenes and graphics.
Somebody help us!
So after a detailed and dramatic opening cutscene, which was quite the info dump, I was just thrown into combat. No tutorials, no button prompts, just get on with it. Then I remembered the era of game booklets, which hold all the wisdom of the game before you even put the disc in. Okay, control section. Well, yes, this is helpful to know what every single button on the controller is, but I'd like to know what they actually do in the game. Okay, combat controls. They go from one button to button combos pretty quickly. So translated, hold down L1 every so often and different stuff will happen. Back to the game then. I still haven't been told who I am, but he's a warrior with a big sword, and I'm fighting orcs, by the look of it. The colour palette, which I know was trying to be dark and dreary, makes it kinda hard to see where I am and which direction I'm fighting, so just keep hitting buttons and hope the orcs go down. Most of the prisoners are free, then on to the next section. One big surprise was the fixed camera. I don't think I've played a fixed camera game in years, so I kept nudging the right stick and wondering why nothing was happening. Anywho, we fight more orcs and stumble upon another cage with a fairly relaxed prisoner who doesn't seem to be worried about being locked up.
What? No one asked for your help.
They did.
Wood elves. They're weak.
I do love her attitude, and then the game transitions into me controlling her. Again, no names or introductions. I don't know if these characters are well known in the D&D world, but as a stranger to it all, they're just random at this point. So this character is a rogue with daggers and sneak attacks, even though it's not mentioned how or when I can do these sneak attacks. More fighting, and Warrior Man saves Rogue Girl from archers.
Stop rescuing me!
She's so thankful.
Pleasure meeting you too. The name's Rannick.
Rannick! Finally, he's introduced himself. Out of the portal steps a fancy mage-looking guy, who is politely asked to take down all the archers.
You up there! You with a stick!
Over here!
We're pinned down!
We need your help! Kill the archers!
Again, no button prompts, so I'm just button mashing and trying all sorts of combinations, trying to cast a spell or something, but all I can manage is smacking orcs with my staff. Big Dragon forces the group into a mine.
In here!
And get trapped again?
Have no choice. Now go!
And that's the end of the chapter. Another thing I haven't seen for years, chapters with a summary screen at the end. Ah, memories. Between each chapter I can upgrade items and levels, buy new gear and even purchase new moves and combos. Each character has their own gold and experience points, so I don't have to split the pot 3 ways. Also, this is the first time we see all their names. Rannoch, the warrior we already met, Ilias the mage, and finally Jai the rogue.
Chapter 2. Descent into Gemspark Mine.
What's weird is the drip feeding of information, such as being told what the HUD means in between chapters rather than at the very beginning. Never mind, let's move on to the next chapter.
This is the Gemspark Mine. I heard of it as a child. Enough riches to make us all kings.
There could be orcs around that bend. Can you really think of riches?
I'm half drow.
The Drow, a race of murderers and thieves.
Well, you won't see me playing hero. And I don't know why you feel the need.
I'm from a town called Nesme.
Of course. It was overrun by trolls.
I was in that fight. But I was knocked out early. When I awoke, almost everyone I knew had been killed.
Explains the death wish.
A bit of backstory and we're on our way through the mines. Ooh, instructions on how to switch between characters. Finally some help.
The orcs are in here!
A little more fighting and whoa! A button prompt? So that's what Square does. Though, due to the colours and characters merging into each other, I can't really see when to block or if I'm doing it right. Oh well, like most games I play, and to the ire of many, block is optional. We have a hero meter, which is the little sparkly things on the HUD at the bottom. And once one hero's meter is full, they can perform a powerful attack. Once all the meters are full, all the characters can perform a powerful group attack. Right. We're being given instructions on how to perform a ranged attack. My mage is no longer a melee character, though I wanted to see what the warrior's range attack was, and he seems to throw axes. He only carries 15 at a time, but I can pick up more from enemies. Another important point is auto-aiming for both ranged and melee attacks. So if I'm facing one direction and I defeat an enemy, I'll immediately lock onto another enemy, regardless of where I was facing last. I can also break boxes and barrels and chests, which sometimes contain potions which enemies can also drop.
Smoke!
Uh-oh, sneak attack! Jai leaps out the way, but Rannoch and Ilias get knocked out. Even though Jai runs and hides, she still loses consciousness behind all the rubble. When she wakes up, we're given a mini tutorial on how her sneak mechanics work, and when she can use her assassination skill.
I work so much better alone.
Look for sparkly floors, and she'll become transparent. She finds the boys, and Ilias gives us some backstory on when and why he appeared.
We might have been better off against the dragon.
It was never a choice for me. I came through that portal because I felt drawn here by fate. Something needs me, here inside this mine. But you were not supposed to be involved.
Well, if you're right, we leave this cage alive. After that, who knows?
Even though Jai has stealth mechanics, they don't seem useful outside of standing still.
Rogue! Careful!
Quiet!
Anyway, she breaks the boys out and finally introduces herself.
You might be useful, and the name is Jai.
More fighting, and the group bump into the first boss. I decided to see how powerful Ilias would be standing back and casting spells. I quickly found it was kinda boring. The boss would come along and knock me down every so often, then it would be back to weak ranged attacks. What made me laugh was once the boss was down, he had gear on him that each group member could use specifically.
Those gloves are magic. Gauntlets of ogre power.
You're the fighter.
I'll hold those. Beads of force. They need a gentle touch. That's a ring of jumping.
Oh, it's even my size.
Ilias got beads of force, which open certain magical doors.
Try those beads of yours.
Jai got a ring of jumping, which is probably the worst jumping mechanics I've ever come across. And Rannick gets gauntlets of ogre power, which allow him to Hulk smash large objects. The amount of story that's forced in as fast as it could be is quite impressive. I've just about got an understanding of how to use range and melee attacks. Then we stumble into some weird glowing orb, hovering over skeletons locked in some sort of battle. That's just background though. Fighting these random mobs is what we need to focus on. Don't mind them in the background.
They're gating in from other planes.
After defeating waves of enemies, we get a cutscene showing the orb fleshing out the skeletons, with one escaping and the other throwing a tantrum over a sword.
Get me that sword!
There's our way out. Any idea what all that was?
Those were outsiders, creatures from other planes of existence. The female was Githyanki, the male Slod. Both races destroy everything in their paths.
We're near Cedar Leaf. It's a wood elf village. We have to make sure they're safe.
I thought she hated wood elves.
Chapter 3. Attack at Cedar Leaf.
Chapter 3. And randomly I'm shown melee and range controls, after I've had to use them in previous chapters. So weird how they choose to deliver their information in this game. I suppose it does make it different to other games, but there's a reason we're told what buttons do before we get into the game.
Through here!
How do you know about this place?
Because this was my home.
Right, so random lady from the cave has launched an attack on a nearby elven village. So we're gonna help.
Don't let her open that portal!
Again, using Ilias, I was hoping for something more powerful or fancy, but no. I'm just spamming the ranged attack button over and over while my teammates run around taking down enemies. I still get knocked down though. More fighting, other guy from cave appears and Jai has to reach the bridge controls to get the others across.
Jump across!
Jumping. It's so painful in this game. It doesn't help that there's an enemy just shooting me from afar. There's no ledge grab and the camera keeps changing every time I try to get to a better position. It not only takes me a while, but I also get a game over. Marvelous.
Faerun will now fall.
Okay, get the guy on the ledge first, then worry about jumping.
Quickly, Jai!
I'm going!
Jai gets to the controls, and it's onwards to more fighting.
The village has a shelter beneath that tree. The elves will want to reach it.
Soreka, you ran off just as I was returning to my old self.
Duor, Amonte Faerun, Kisutana.
I see why you want this village. You need its portal to call your army. Too bad. I'm taking it now, along with that sword.
Litura Rek Gisi, Hazliet.
The cave duo start fighting each other, but again that's just background. We need to get the villagers out. But either we only need to get 55 out, or there are only 55 in the village. Either way, we get a counter at the top, and the more enemies we defeat, the more villagers can escape. Logic. What made me stop and laugh was the cave duo's fight kept coming into focus, front and center, while I still had to focus on enemies in the background. The camera would zoom in and out and turn in cinematic ways, but I was trying to see what I was doing. Just made me laugh because I didn't know how important the cave duo was or how I was involved with them. But they were there, jumping from background to foreground as I was trying to save villagers. Cave lady escapes again. Cave guy throws another tantrum, and the group start yelling at villagers to get to safety, like it was this newly realized strategy.
Get everyone out of here!
Just, we have to go! Everyone run!
Run for your lives!
Run!
Get out!
Everybody get out of here!
So I'll leave it there, I think. I did give the next chapter a go, but there was a jumping part I couldn't work quite right, and after the 4th or 5th game over, I just couldn't take it anymore. So, Forgotten Realms Demon Stone, from a retro gamer perspective, is quite good. I do like changing which character you play on the fly, and the combat isn't terrible. I did not like the fixed camera, as it made jumping harder than it had to be. And speaking of jumping, why? It was so hard to estimate distances, and the room for error was so small. On top of that, no grab and the camera swinging around. It did suck the fun out of things. I almost dreaded any jumping that needed to be done. Other than that, it's a fun little game, and if you're a D&D fan and already know the world and the characters, it might make it even more fun to have a go.